Hi, I'm Ken Merbler, Ken Merbler Consulting Group. The video you're about to watch is about quality through prevention and the key factors that can make it a powerful profit driver. But you got to make sure that you're willing to invest in prevention and to live prevention. Our clients have seen well over 100% return on their investment in prevention. Enjoy the video and let me know. I'm at kenmerbler.com. Take care. What if I told you that the most powerful, profitable booster in your business, you haven't been paying attention to it? And I'm not talking about marketing, I'm not talking about sales, I'm talking about quality. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I just finished a study looking at what does it cost all businesses across the U.S. to fail. Now, they do unquality kinds of things like rework, scrap, and manufacturing. Legal things, everybody has legal things, lawsuits, etc. Recalls, I could go on for 30 minutes. So 1.8 trillion, and the question is, what part of that belongs to you? So today's video, the short video, I'd like to just share with you a process that could help you eliminate or at least reduce your price of nonconformance, your failure, the things that you have to do over, the things where you lose a client or the turnover. I mean, there's a lot of things again. So this process, by the way, is formulated based on a framework of communication called the Four Absolutes. The Four Absolutes really were developed by a guy I used to work for. His name was Philip B. Crosby. He wrote the book Quality is Free. And I worked for him in the United States. I went to Europe, Asia, traveled giving seminars and working with clients. And I found that this language, these four concepts really resonate, especially the idea of prevention. That's the hook that gets people interested because they can relate to prevention. One question a lot of people ask me, this sounds good, but how much waste am I really looking at? Well, let me tell you what we typically see, and that is somewhere between 20 to 25% of your sales is waste. And a lot of people say, oh, come on now. And I say, well, let's look at your chart of accounts. We sit there and we look at scrap, rework, we look at a recall, we look at warranty, we look at lawsuits, and I can go on for about 20 minutes now. And then they say, oh my God, we're approaching 20%. I'm going, yes. And that's just scratching the surface. What I'm saying is the real reason to do this is profitability. So let's talk about the four absolutes. Let me introduce them to you. The first one is, what's the definition of quality? The definition of quality is conformance to requirements. Like, what is the requirement for hiring somebody, as an example, just to throw one out. The second one is the system of quality. It's not inspection, it's prevention. The system is prevention. The third one is, how often do you want quality to be there? In other words, the performance standard. And it's not every other time, it's zero defects. It doesn't mean perfection. It means I have a mindset of prevention and wanting to eliminate every defect that I am involved in. And I work with people to correct that. The last one is the measurement. And again, we don't measure anything that you don't want to get done. And that really is the bottom line, and that's the price of nonconformance. So if I want to eliminate the unquality things, I need to measure it in dollars and cents. It's okay to have control charts in the process inside the company, etc. But when we roll it up, we got to be talking money because that's how you run the business. Let's go back now and talk about the four absolutes in a little more detail. The first absolute, as I said earlier, is conformance to requirements. People sometimes go, well, what does that really mean? I go, well, let me tell you a story. I worked with some executives, a multi-billion-dollar company, and we had a little workshop to talk about the definition of quality, because they said they had launched a marketing effort and their idea was to be the best. They told all the employees, let's be the best. And I said, would you guys take out a sheet of paper and write down what that means? And they did. And guess what? Yes, I had 7 people, had 7 different answers slightly. And I said, so if you don't know what that is consistently, how do they know? Oh, yeah. So I said, look, I got an idea. Why don't we say quality is conformance to requirements, and we're going to give it our best each and every time to do it right. Oh, yeah, I like that. So I said, okay, that's we're talking about requirements, plus or minus. Okay, like an airplane landing on a runway. You talk to pilots, do I land exactly in the same spot every time? No. I've got plus or minus 400 feet to hit that vehicle on the runway. The second absolute is prevention, the system. And again, not appraisal, but prevention. One of the most important characteristics of this is training. A lot of people don't spend the time. I see them doing, they say OJT, on the job training. Great. But if people don't know the requirements, how are they going to do the OJT if they see you do something that is not to the requirements? So training is an absolute. And let me give you just a snippet, and I don't have time to go into it today, but I worked for a company a long time ago in Dallas, a food additive company. I was laid off from an aerospace company, so I got a job there. And they were making oxidizing products for bakeries, and they also had vitamin inputs. But what all the employees didn't know, including me, is that one of the oxidizing products was very, very volatile and could explode. And if you go to a bakery or a flour mill, in the air is flour, and flour is highly combustible. So we're talking about that kind of situation. Engines or motors are encased so that they don't, if a spark were to hit, it could blow up. Well, one day, unfortunately, somebody put metal on metal just as I left the room. The room exploded. Actually, the blender that exploded, a 1/4-inch stainless steel blender, killed 8 people. So there's a huge disaster there. No training, didn't realize what we were dealing with, and look at that. So I can't give you a more dramatic example than prevention. The third absolute is, how often do you want to do things right the first time? And I talk to some people and they say, well, sometimes it's okay. And I go, no, it's not okay. Are you paying for that? Yeah, I am. Do you want it to be not right? Like if I'm at a restaurant and I order a steak dinner with a baked potato, am I happy if the steak is burned? Well, not really. Okay. Then we're saying we want requirements conform to each and every time. Yeah, I guess so. If you're going in the hospital and the doctor's out there, you think he should be doing the zero defects? I think so. And again, when he does or she does an incision in you, it's not a perfect 3-inch incision. It's plus or minus a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch or whatever. So that's the third absolute. The last is the price of nonconformance, which is the measurement. And now again, we're talking about money. How much does it cost to fail? Let me give you a wonderful example. Not wonderful if you're in the automotive business, but I also did a little Google there and research. And this year, 2025, 10.7 million cars have already been recalled. 10.7 million. So by the end of the year, we're probably looking at 20 million or more. What did that cost? Well, Google said, beats the heck out of me. It can be in the billions. And I looked a couple up. As an example, General Motors had a recall on the ignition system, 4.6 billion. Ford had a thing where fire could happen under the hood because of a gas leak, 2.6 billion. So that's a big chunk out of that 1.8 trillion I talked about earlier. What's your price of nonconformance? How much failure have you absorbed in your business? So in summary, we've talked about prevention being very important, the value of quality being the elimination of the price of nonconformance, your reputation, your brand. I can go on again for a long time telling you all the reasons. The money, of course, is significant. Turnover, lost customers, giving them something because you couldn't deliver on time. So we've got all those problems we need to eliminate that drag down our profitability. So if you like that kind of thinking and you feel like that your firm could introduce the 4 absolutes: conformance requirements, system of prevention, system or performance standard of 0 defects, and the last one is price of nonconformance is the measurement, then you're on your way to actually having some improvement. And I'm not talking, again, just about the delivery area. I'm talking about HR, legal, I'm talking about engineering, I'm talking about all the areas, marketing, sales, all of them speaking the same language. If we can do that, we can eliminate all the process errors we have in work, because all work is a process. If you're interested in that, give me an email at ken@kenmerbler.com, and I'll be glad to chat with you, have a coffee, and we can talk about it. Thanks again for watching this video. Take care. Hope you enjoyed the video. And I guess you've wondered, how could I apply this to myself? And the question I ask you right off the bat is, have you looked at the waste in your company, the price of nonconformance, the scraps, the reworks, the warranties, things like that? Because the idea of prevention is to eliminate those kinds of things. Our clients see their profit increase initially 15 to 20% if they in fact are committed to prevention. If you've enjoyed that and look at that as a potential for your company, send me an email at kenmerbler.com. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you in person, or we can have a call on the phone or the computer, whichever way it works for you, and explore how this might apply to your business. Thank you. Bye-bye.